Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. Hope you're doing great, coming to you live from Tennessee. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. I want to talk about some bad news for the price of gold, but first I want to say I'm not selling my gold. I'm not in a position where I have to because I have those equal bags of investments. When one rises a lot, I take money from another one and put it in. That investment idea has done me well for over 20 years. But the price of gold is hitting a fever pitch, a euphoria that we have not seen since the late 70s. And remember, the gold price still rose into the early 80s, and then it came crashing back down to earth. I highly suggest this. If you are very heavy in one asset, let's say it's gold, you need to remember to take profits. If it's super heavy in crypto, you take profits, right? Of course, you don't want to be selling anything at a loss because that would create a losing situation, because this is a mentality you need to learn, accept, and honor. I know it sounds a little crazy, but people need to understand that. Once you get into that mentality of winning, you always win. I talked about online, got a lot of hate about gold going down in 2026, and that is because the stock market is you're about to witness something very impressive, similar to when I called the crypto crash, the banking crash, the stock market crash a few years ago. And when I use the word crash, please understand that means nowhere near zero. It's not going to zero. None of these things are, right? But this just massive correction, sharp, steep. After the FTX, that one definitely went to nothing because of the losses that were incurred, right? And people don't understand, they don't remember that when the stock market takes heavy losses, so does the price of gold. There's a story out of Zero Hedge. It says gold is showing, real quick, I'm gonna throw a link down to the newsletter. It's free to sign up. I never sell your information, your email or anything like that, but I do once a week or so, Dylan actually does it, some great emails. If you guys want more information of where I'm investing, timing wise, stuff like that, there's that and my link to X. Gold is showing now increased volatility up at these prices, usually a sign of short-term exhaustion. We overshot the trend line, the upper trend line, but are now back as of this writing. The current breakout move has basically lasted the same amount of percentage as early January's breakout, but in a much shorter time frame. Gold is also as dislocated from the 200-day as it was back in May. So something I want to explain, and type yes or no if you agree or see this as well. Nobody wanted to buy gold when I was talking about it, $1,200, $1,500, $1,700. And then everybody seems to be rushing in at these all-time highs. A lot of millennials, too, are jumping in on this bandwagon. And that's not good. You want to be buying things when people don't like them, and then you want to sell it to people that are freaking out. It's almost like what you're seeing right now. It says here, right now, it looks like gold could easily test the 21-day moving average, which coincides with the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement, and it wouldn't do much damage to the overall chart structure. That level sits right around the magical $4,000 mark. Something else about the $4,000 mark is you have to look at human perception of value. And people love round numbers, okay? By and large, most retail traders, that's all they see is round numbers. Hey, like when Bitcoin, I told my family and friends when Bitcoin is 500 and 1,000, I said people lose their minds at 10,000. And they did. The move from $10,000 Bitcoin to 19,000 and change was pretty darn quick on a time, basis. It's the same thing for gold, because you see all those headlines hitting and dopamine firing off in people when gold just hit 4,000, gold hit 4,000. It's not, that is more impressive when it hit 3,000, when it hit, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. That's more impressive than a headline that says gold hit a new all-time high. It says here, they're looking at the story and the basis, and what I wanted to talk about was that gold, I believe, can still go up to $5,000 this year, okay? But I'm starting to warn people because my thing is I'm not buying at these levels. I already bought a long time ago. I'm buying specific crypto projects right now that are in the dumps because they're going to take that next move. And there have been times where gold and Bitcoin and crypto move together, and there are times when they do this. And I believe that's the time that we're in. Now, none of this obviously is financial advice. I'm just investing my own money, and I'll never invest yours. Don't believe any fake ninjas accounts down there below in the comments. But I want people constantly in positions of power and authority with their money, not chasing that next thing. And there are lots of people, you can read the comments down below. There's lots of people that buy on pumps, whether it be crypto. They're about to be bag holders in gold, I believe, in 2026. And so my suggestion is, and this is what I do, when one of your bags, whether it be gold, crypto, stocks, real estate, gets really overweight in your personal portfolio, you take some of that profit and then you distribute it throughout the other ones, because you've then locked in that gain over there. You know, there are more people that are afraid of taking gains due to taxes than anything. I want you to think of this, and really I want to make this clear. When you pay tax, and I like paying as little tax as possible, that's why I moved to a tax-free state. That's why I use legal tax write-offs and loopholes, right? But at a certain point, I'm going to end up paying tax. And I sit there and I think, for every dollar I make, yep, I pay that tax, but look at all the profit left over that I now get to reinvest in something else and watch that grow. Most people are not making money in our country because they are more afraid of the tax man, and they hold on to something too long and then it drops in price. You're given right now an amazing opportunity. And again, I'm not selling my gold. I don't need to. But there is a point where when it gets so saturated, that price, I go, you know what? I'm going to pull some off the table. I'm going to register that win in my mind. It locks into my DNA. This is not a joke. It's real. And then I'm going to put it into something else that I believe in. But again, I'm not doing all of it. I'm taking some off the table. Guys, if this makes sense to you, type 1. If you think I'm crazy and you're never going to sell gold, type 2. And the reason why I want you to type that, because I want to see the pulse of what people are putting in this live chat or what they're thinking. And the reason why is because I'm coming from this, with this, position, from a position of a lot of experience. And I know it doesn't seem like that sometimes, with the way I dress, the way I film my videos and things like that. And there are a lot of people out there that would make you think that because of their fancy suits or some rented nice car that or even a car they might have bought but they don't own because they can't afford it. There's a couple twos out there. Let me remind you of something. To anyone thinking, I'm never going to sell my gold. I've never met someone financially savvy, financially successful that has that mentality of, I will never sell this. Now, if you're in the position where like, I don't have to sell, like me, okay, I get that, right? I've got other money, other ways of income, my own businesses, things like that. I have other investment, vehicles. But I want you to understand that if you don't take that gain at a certain point, you're going to be holding a bag, because the US government is going to do everything they can to make sure that gold doesn't go up a ton. And to all those YouTubers out there saying they're going to revalue gold like they did back then, I want you to understand there are so many complex financial instruments out there, like derivatives, that ensure that the US government does not have to do that. And all the people that bought gold backs, in the past, and I came out and I said, hey, it's not for me, right? I've got some that someone gave to me as like a shtick. How's that working out for you right now? Go down and try and use them. Go and try and sell them. You may have some good luck on Facebook, like an Iraqi dinar, right? Being able to sell to one other person, but it's not like people are going to be running down your door or knocking down your door to go buy those things. That's why it's important to be ahead of that next curve. And I'm just making these videos because there's someday where these videos will all be chronologically shown and, hey, look, this was the next move. Again, I'm not saying that gold can't go to $5,000 this year, but I'd be shocked, absolutely shocked, if the government decided it was a good idea to revalue gold. There would have to be quite a tragedy. And as far as gold backing the dollar, I don't believe that's going to ever happen. I hope this is good news or bad news. I don't know. See where you guys go with it. Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for everybody that hits that subscribe button, because I'm definitely a contrarian when it comes to this. I'm hot gold when it's cheap and nobody likes it and thinks it's stupid. I get nervous when everybody wants gold and there's lines out the door to buy it at all-time highs. That's usually a mania. Hopefully you got something out of this. The Economic Ninja is out. How do we turn this thing on?